Welcome back. So we talking about sports where we just had conference championship this past weekend. Both games on Sunday rolling. We didn't get no Saturday football. It's consecutive weeks of Saturday football. We were spoiled, but now we don't have it. Um, but anyway, how was your weekend?
Good, man. Not the that I wanted out of these two games, obviously, but as a life Cowboys fan, I'm conditioned not to to expect not getting the results that I want. So, it's all live to fight another day. Again, not the results that I wanted, but nonetheless, they were two, entertaining games for the most part. The Commanders were in tow for most of it, but we'll get into all that. But kind of getting a little bitter down to, as you're alluding to, the end of day, and we're going to be into the off season where we're just looking at basketball, what our teams are doing, and if you're in the case of the Dallas Cowboys, what you're not going to do this in, and then get season. So yeah, gonna have it again. Not the result I wanted or the Super Bowl I wanted to see, but it's still football.
Yeah, we still got 2 games left in reality because we do get the Pro Bowl. Not sure what that counts for nowadays because it is not a good All Star game. It just really isn't. It's almost unwatchable.
You're not into that flag football and watching them play dodgeball?
I
You
would
don't
much
like that?
rather them do some sort of skill setup where we're having to see quarterbacks make some crazy throws through some hoops or something than what they're giving us. Um,
The 40
you know
yard
what?
dash.
That's what they should bring back. I don't know if you remember a few years back where they had like Marquise Goodwin running up against somebody in a 40-yard dash for like $1 million. Let's bring that back. That's
Yeah, you got to
fun.
bring that
Like, give
back,
me something.
or remember like the old days, like when we were kids, they would have like in the off season, especially like Pro Bowl time, and I the quarterback competition. Got to bring, and I think they may have some of that. I just remember like Cordell Stewart
Yes,
and Drew Bledsoe and those guys doing the long ball, the targets, but I haven't watched the last couple Pro Bowls, so how that, but that was something I used
let's
to like
let's bring
watching.
that
So
one
something
back.
like that.
Hey, but before we get into it, I do want to wish Ron a happy birthday. He's not here tonight. He's with his mother eating dinner. Otherwise, he would have been here. But happy birthday, Ron! The big 37, I believe, today. So,
Happy B-Day, Ron. First birthday as a father, so
yeah.
congrats on all fronts. Yeah, man. Shout out
All
Ron.
right, let's get into it. The first game of Sunday, the Eagles they rout Washington behind Barkley's 15 carries and 118 yards. He had 3 rushing touchdowns, and the Eagles rolling. They just killed it on the ground. 7 rushing touchdowns total. Only 1 passing touchdown. Hurts to AJ Brown. You know that connection for a slant is always going to be good for a touchdown. Even our boy Will Shipley got into the end zone.
Yeah, he was eating.
55-23. Roland, break this game down for us on your perspective of what you saw Sunday afternoon.
It was a entertaining game for the most part, but from the first play that the offense, Saquon to the house, kind of set the tone where it was going. You were kind of wondering going into the game how Washington's defense was going to hold up because that was the glaring weakness. Played good in the 2 weeks leading up to. Still, they're a bottom 10 defense especially when you look at, again, their bottom 5. So really it was not a good matchup coming into this game for them. And then when you compound the fact that, they're ball over those fumbles right when they're trying to get back in the game, they showed. So, they were really outmatched going into this game. And shout out to Dan Quinn, shout out to Kingsbury, offensive coordinator, also just announced that he's not going to. That's pretty good for the Commanders going forward, continuity. But shout out again to Jaden Daniel for taking this team this far with this cast. That's where I think they're going to spend a lot of time in the offseason trying to fix that. But just from the Eagle side, got to give a shout out to Jalen Hurts. It was a guy who's taken a lot of criticism leading up to this game. There was a lot of or not a lot, but there was some controversy. Him and AJ Brown, stuff going on the sidelines, reading self-help books, which I think, by the way, anyways, Jalen Hurts questioning, is he good enough to win a Super Bowl? What's going on with this guy? And I thought he came and played lights out. Granted, he has a good supporting cast, but
Really good
still,
roster.
you got to make the play. Yeah, top to bottom, the Eagles have they're stacked on defense. I know they got the contingency of Georgia Bulldogs. I mean, outside of that, they're loaded on the defensive side of the ball. Arguably best offensive line in football still. Then you got the weapons and Devonta Smith. AJ Brown can go on and for days and days, but Jalen Hurts did his led them down the field with Saquon Barkley back there. But yeah, man, just the Eagles full throttle. I guess I don't want to use the word I'm glad to see that they had this performance because I'm a Cowboys fan. Never going to be happy for the Eagles to play, but I am glad that they were, finally at their full strength, because I don't think they were leading up to this. And then so they kind of everybody know, hey, we're the class of the NFC. So yeah, all around, I thought it was an entertaining game. Made it a little bit closer. Didn't even get there on the teaser that I had. Plus 13. Not even close. Didn't even sniff that. But I think that comes down, though, to the turnovers.
Yes,
so if you eliminate some of those turnovers, the game's a little closer. But the Eagles had.
Roland, let me tell you this. 28 points came off of turnovers. You take away those 28 points out of the 55, and you have yourself a legit game. Commanders, like you said, continuity, Cliff's coming back. You got something in Jaden. The cap hit next year is going to be very minimal. They're looking pretty sharp. I mean, I'm not sure what they need to improve on other than maybe a little bit on the offensive line. I know they had some issues with center getting hurt. Get some depth on the offensive line. But this team should be sharp for the next 3 to 4 years. They're going to be in this window. So it's good to see for the NFC East, the NFC Beast, as they were well representative Sunday.
Hey, their window's open. Still got to get back there and you actually get the job done. But with the landscape, easier for a different team to break in on this side of the post of what we're getting ready to talk about.
Yeah,
on the AFC.
What other things would you like to highlight? Now, I want to just it's you mentioned we do pick at Jalen Hurts a lot. Any concerns going into the Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts only having that one touchdown? That one throw. Now, he was accurate, 20 for 28, 250 yards he put up. Quarterback rating out of this world, 110.
In tow, before it was a blowout and the game was still up for grabs, Jalen Hurts made every play that he needed to make. I know you point to the one touchdown, but extremely accurate with the ball. This is probably the best that I've seen him year. Honestly, he was decisive. He was quick with it on the release. He was accurate, hitting on those deep shots. Shout out AJ Brown. He made some big plays, and really too, the game also probably came down to that fourth down conversion. I think it was a 4th and short, or it might have been a 3rd and short. But when AJ Brown hit on that 30-yarder right there, that was kind of put the game, I think, back into a double-digit territory. So, no word side for Jalen Hurts going into the Super Bowl.
They always have that one play in their back pocket for that first down, that 4th and 1. We've all been seeing it, the tush push, the brotherly shove, that rugby play. It's just unstoppable. We did see the Commanders, I don't know if you remember, at that goal line where the one safety is just jumping over the line, doing his best to try and stop that, but it's just unstoppable, Roland. I mean, once you get in the red zone and you need 1 yard, you need that, maybe even 1.5. Jalen Hurts and those guys got it down packed. That's money.
And the crazy thing is, it's not great, but it's not even just exclusive to the red zone. If it's 3rd and up and tush pushing on their 20, and kudos to them. Dramatic play, and if you have something like that, just do it. Why are you not gonna do the tush push on 3rd and short, or even 2nd and 1? Tush push and get it over with. I get you got Saquon Barkley back there, but that's automatic, and that's even with the centers being injured. Peterson, I think that's his name. Shout out to him. He fought and then Jurgens, who didn't start the game, came back in and played with that bad back. So I mean, the Eagles are just loaded, man. Not fair. Shout out, but he is another guy that was, kind of on the wrong end of some criticism this year. Nick Sirianni, their coach, the guy, it works. The guys are buying into what he's selling, and that's really all that matters. I mean, players. I know people don't like his antics, make fun for crying and whatnot, but we talked about it. I think it was last week or the week before, chirping with fans and stuff. But there's the guys on the sideline. I think they know that. And I mean, in a 18-week season, especially kind of in coming out of those summer months, you can get a little chippy, and you like to see a shout out Sirianni for rallying the boys up, because they were looking like, hey, right? They lost the Super Bowl. Last year wasn't so good for them. Kind of ended on a bad note after the hot start, and then come in this season with some question marks, and here. So shout out Philadelphia. They got something going on with their GM.
What's his name? Howie Rosen.
Whatever.
So
his name's
the Python has been bought in, Roland. You're absolutely right. I will talk about Jalen Hurts. One more thing. A lot was made about how banged up that knee was going to be going into the game. He answered every question the way he played running the ball. That knee's 100%. Any chance they were sandbagging the teams that they were playing, making it seem like, oh, Jalen's not 100, when in actuality, the kid just took off the brace and was like, I'm good.
Yeah, no, there's probably a little bit of that
gamesmanship
in there for sure. But, he did take a nasty sack. I want to say the last game where his knee got contorted backwards. So you can kind of, to your point, to make it believable, like, hey, he did just have a tackle. So that could have been a little sandbag. Good, looked spry. And that was the other thing. Last year, he was kind of going through some injuries, and is fully healthy coming in the Super Bowl, it looks like, at least.
All right, well, let's move on to the game that had hearts broken across America. There was a time where Kansas City was the underdog and everyone was cheering against them against the Patriots dynasty. And now it seems like they've lived long enough and became the villain. You've heard of that quote before, Roland. Josh Allen, he heads into Arrowhead to face the two-time defending Super Bowl champions, and he once again just comes up a little short. And I mean, credit to the Kansas City defense, credit to Spags. I would like to go there first, because that dial up of a blitz, the way he disguised that blitz, and then Josh Allen still almost gets the pass off. Roland, just break this down for me one time, because this game was cinema, bro.
Yeah, he was not supposed to throw it to Khalil Shakir. I don't know if you saw that today. Some dude kind of drew like the ire of a lot of fans and a lot of football guys. Josh Allen should have thrown a Shakir. That was like his first read or something. But with that blitz, there was no way for him to read. Like, even getting that pass off is a testament to how crazy he put the ball right on the spot, and heartbreaking, because I mean, it hit Dalton Kincaid two hands, and it's a lot easier for us to say from our seats that Kincaid should have caught that. A little tough, he had to judge it kind of low. Then you have a bad read on a ball and still trying to salvage it, even though it still hit him right in the hands. You got to make that catch. But moving on, I just Allen, man, 0-4 against Mr. Mahomes. I know we got something. So I'm not trying to steal any thunder there, but gutted for Allen, because it's not his fault. I mean, he's number one in almost every statistical quarterback scoring in the playoffs. And then when you even drill it down to the Chiefs, it's not his fault. He's kind of being, I don't want to be, he's being failed by his team and whatnot, but it's not him.
So I want to get into that a little bit more, because I also agree with you that it's not necessarily him. But where do you point the finger at? At one point, do the Bills organization say, hey, you know what, McDermott, You've gotten us this far over and over, but you can't get us over the hump. And I want to go back to a team back in the day, the Bucks, with Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy was getting them close, but couldn't get them over. They fired Tony Dungy off a winning season. They bring in John Gruden. John Gruden the next year wins the Super Bowl. At what point does the Bills organization say, hey, you know what? We like what you've done, McDermott, but we just need a little bit more? Because you got to point the finger somewhere, and you know you can't put it at this MVP caliber quarterback. It's not on him. It's not. So where do you point the finger?
There's a lot of different directions you can point the finger. Like, we leading up to this game brought up the example of 13 seconds. Josh Allen can't go out there and tackle excuse my language, can't go out and tackle Kelsey, right? Or play defense, do that. And to your question, I do think that should be at least on the table, considering a new coach. It's easy to kind of think about that coming off a conference championship season, a season where you were kind of in competition for the 1 seed until, the Chiefs just kept on winning games and you weren't going to be able to. Great season. But it's one of those things, they almost need somebody in here to like the mojo or like change the attitude in the room, kind of give them, and it doesn't changing the coach. It can be an actor, like the day when they brought over, or maybe I have it backwards. Did Haley play with the?
I think he played with the
Cowboys. I feel like.
But we brought Dion in, and that helped us.
Well, yeah, we brought guys in that era to help us get over the hump. I think that's kind of where the Chiefs are at. I've seen them talk. Tyreek Hill, and that was, look, man. It's just you're going up against the Chiefs. That's also the other thing at the end of the day. Like, it's nobody's fault.
That's your kryptonite.
Like, you're going up against the Chiefs. Yeah, like you're going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. You have to be perfect when you're playing them. Like you can't make it. The chances that you have to capitalize on them. It has to be 7. Have to make your stops when you have to, and
you have to play a perfect game. Literally, that's what it is.
Yeah.
A perfect game. And Roland, I'm going to ask you about how close to perfection the Bills got. And there was a lot of talk about the refs once again. And to me, I feel like the refs weren't as egregious as they were against when the Chiefs played the Texans. Did you feel the same?
And I don't know, they were as bad as they were with the Texans game, but every like 50-50 call went against the Bills. I'm still kind of in dismay. And again, I don't want to point to the refs in the situation, but I mean, Josh Allen converted that 4th down on that quarterback sneak. He cleared the lane. And I mean, you go to review and, we're in 2025 and we still don't have like chips in the ball
crazy.
Or something that tells us exactly we've crossed and whatnot. And so still come to the conclusion that he didn't cross the path. It was kind of nuts. The 50-50 ball with Worthy. I mean, there you can look at the ball clearly hit the ground. And then 2, he himself the ball until after the whole play happened and he was on the floor pretty much. He got lucky. He landed on his back with the ball pretty much. And that's kind of how it shook out for them. And you can point at that. And that's where a lot of people are going to be frustrated, at least so, because we should be getting these calls right, at least in these bigger spots. And just kind of see it always land in the Chiefs' favor. I see where people are for sure. I mean, not to say that the Chiefs are only winning because of that, because on the other side, Mahomes was pretty damn near unstoppable in this game. The Bills did not have an answer. He looked like Mike Vick out there on the right side with nobody to touch him. So then they add in the halfback sprint from the first snap of the game for the Chiefs on offense. As soon as the Chiefs got that 90 yards down the field, boom, 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 7.
Set the tone.
The Bills had no answer. Which I see. Yeah, I might be on that something different. different from Sean McDermott because they already went through, fired Dorsey, made him the scapegoat. Brought in Joe Brady, who's the first. So yeah, maybe we should look at get them over the hump and someone who can help win these close games, because two on the other side, and Andy Reid, who is and Steve Spagnuolo. You mentioned him, Spags, the best coordinator in football. Who Chris Jones, he was joining us, keep Spags as a coordinator, keep on doing this.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, and again, you called it up, perfectly dialed up. Allen really had no answer, but you wish Kincaid comes up with that catch.
Absolutely, and it's so crazy to think about Josh Allen, because if he doesn't have to play across 15, this man might have 2 chips of his own at this point, honestly. But unfortunately, it's 15.
Dude,
that's across the field.
Yeah, and the graphic that goes around, it's been the Pats for 4 years, the Chiefs for 4 years, the Broncos, and who was it? On the AFC. Oh, then the Bengals. Only 2 teams.
Only Joe Burrow's done it to Mahomes.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's again, we can go back and say it's Josh Allen that, Kincaid this, but you're playing arguably, I mean, the second coming, if not a better version of the graphic that you have up here.
Let's get into that Patriots a little bit.
I mean,
so as you can see here, left side, we're seeing the Bills come up short. On the right side, we got Brady and Manning rolling. Is this an accurate comparison to put Mahomes as Brady and Josh Allen as Manning?
I mean, I can't think of a better comparison. And it's going to take 1 or 2 times to sneak through, kind of like what Peyton did. But, I was listening to a podcast, Jeff Saturday was talking, mentioned, they strengthened their defense, and they started playing with their defense and rely. Once they had that matchup in the regular season against the Patriots, I forget what year it was. I guess it's the year the Colts finally broke through. And they put them out. They knew that they had something, but they improved on defense. And we could point to the Bills' defense, man, because the other thing, man, Chamber from the first snap, the corners. I mean, I get it when college cornerbacks, and again, it's a lot easier. We're sitting back, and who knows calls were, and I'm not trying to discredit these guys, but they're playing with nine yards of cushion. And I mean, you're going up against Patrick Mahomes. He's completions on you when you're lining up like that. So it was frustrating because I just felt like the Chiefs were going down the field and they really didn't need the refs. Yeah, the questionable calls with the refs ended up going their way, which is even more frustrating, but they didn't need the refs. I was talking about it, not for 1 second watching that game, and it pains me because as I was going for Josh Allen, but not for 1 second did I think the Bills were going to win that game. Watching it, even though it was in tow, it just, even when they were up, it was just like they're not.
The thing is, Roland, like
the Chiefs.
If you give a 1-score game and Mahomes is on the other side, that guy finds a way every time. A 1-score game is his. You have to beat these guys, and you got to beat them bad, pillar to post. If you play a close game and 15 has the ball last, he's going to win. And in this case, he didn't even need the ball last. You got Spags, the magician, drawing up blitzes that, just so effective. And these guys are a dynasty. They're a dynasty. It's hard to beat.
Yeah. They're a dynasty, and they come through with a 3-peat. I mean, no one's ever done that before. That's a feather in their cap. I mean, at the end of the day, it is a competition, but comparing legacies, I mean that's they're gonna have one up on the Pats. So
they're gonna have one up on everybody that's ever won a Super Bowl. I mean, who's ever gonna 3-peat again if they do 3-peat? I mean,
back and chips. Yeah, it's crazy. Kelsey potentially has a chance to go out.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people thinking about him retiring. man, just the Chiefs, they're another organization that has it right. Football guys be the football guys, hire the right people, and just let these guys ball and get the and yeah, it's just they have it done. They have it down right, and they have a guy in Patrick Mahomes too. Don't want to spend too much time glazing here, but the video that was going around today was him after the last Super Bowl with the confetti, still on the floor, talking to Chris Jones, his teammate, who coming into this season had a contract issue. I think he was coming on through the last year on his, and he's here telling Chris Jones, he's like, you're coming back. Like, I'm gonna make sure you're gonna be here. So they got a guy, Mahomes, that knows he needs his guys around him, knows what it takes to win, and technically he's on a good deal right now with all the new deals that have gotten done.
Yeah.
Quarterback pay, and I know he's Mr. $500 million, but that's spread out over 10 years, $50
team
million.
Friendly, if you really think about it, the way the deals have gone.
Yeah, they got it down. It's a sight to see. I'm not gonna go and be like, oh my gosh, it's greatness that we're witnessing here for sure.
Well, real quick, we don't have to get too into the Super Bowl LAX licks, because we are going to have a pod before the Super Bowl, and we'll cover all the stuff that we can cover. But just a gut feeling, I just want to give where you're sitting right now. If you had to do the bet right now, you're putting your bet with the book. Who has your ticket? Who has your money? Just gut feeling right now.
Mean, the Chiefs. It's the Chiefs. No question about it, man. I mean, it's a toss-up line. I think it's like 1.5 or something like that. The Eagles, a better team on paper probably, but the Chiefs just have it going on. Going for that three-peat, and that's where I'd be going. We're trying to. I think we're crazy trying to convince ourselves that it won't go the. Said if it's a one possession game, 15 has the ball, come through. So it's going to take a perfect game.
I just, at this point, I feel like I've learned my lesson: never bet against Mahomes. So that's where my money will be come Sunday, 2 weeks from now. All right, let's get into some more news around the NFL. Jerry Jones, Roland, he is operating out of his comfort zone with this Brian Schottenheimer hiring. Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys surprised the world when they decided to promote offensive coordinator who did not call the plays this year to become their head coach. He is going to be calling the plays now. But I want to key in on what he said, that he was operating not in his comfort zone when he made this hire. Is Jerry Jones kind of already passing the buck on, making it seem like this was a Stephen Jones hire? So if this doesn't work out, it's not on him? Because it kind of seems that way to me, that when he frames it that way. What did you make of that quote?
Man, I don't know what to make of anything. I don't even know if that was the question. But I mean, I heard a lot of people say he was just, and I did not watch all of the press conference. I just saw bits and pieces, but I was following somebody on Twitter who was kind of transcribing the questions as they were going on, and circles, man. Like he's at this point, he's trying to convince himself of something. It feels like he's trying to keep this going, trying to keep this current, version of the Cowboys in a competitive field. Because I mean, just a few years ago, they were like 13-4 or something like that. Good team. So trying to keep that going. This hire, obviously, something to appease to Dak Prescott. Schottenheimer and Prescott obviously have a good relationship, or apparently they do. That was news to me. They were that close, but it's obviously a thumbs up from Dak Prescott. So he's our franchise quarterback. Hopefully, Schottenheimer can get him playing back. He was at prior to this season because he was not playing that good. So hopefully he can get back to some of the form that he had when he was looking like a potential, and is the caliber he was playing at. But not going to get into but have you asked me what I think about it? This whatever to me, like 9-8, like who knows? It could end up being a good hire. It could be just what we need, right? Kind of under the radar kind of guy. Maybe he's gonna be able to get the locker room right. dialed up, or maybe he's just a bridge guy.
It feels like bridge.
We might find ourselves in a we still got some work through. I think some roster stuff so holds for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I can't be too enthused about this. But I'm not gonna be. I don't want to be at too because I mean, who knows? It's just I'm the least exciting option out of every. I think it's more so the process. Like I think the Cowboys they interviewed Leslie Frazier. What are we doing? Like at least get an interview with Ben Johnson.
Aaron
Can we
Glenn.
not at least Aaron Glenn, some of the hotter relevant candidates? We interviewed Robert Salah, who ended up taking your position back with the 49ers. So it seems like the Cowboys obviously did not make a true effort to go out and source somebody out. They you mentioned he didn't even call the plays here. He's with the regime of the head coach who just got fired. So promote the offensive coordinator. That doesn't make sense just from just looking at it. But then just who knows? Because we've gone into seasons before with lower expectations, and the team comes out and goes on a streak or something. So maybe that's somewhat optimistic, but this hire's not helping, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are your thoughts, Justin? I mean, I've been going on. What do you
not
think
optimistic, obviously. And my thoughts are: did Jerry just drag his feet so long on the McCarthy firing that when it came to the time of getting these interviews done, that he didn't get his fair shake at some of these better, higher named coaches, a la Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn?
That's the
thing. Did he
thing.
just drag his feet too much, and just like he did with Henry, with re-signing Dak, re-signing CD, taking so long and eating up more cap by doing so, not getting guys and not getting the help? Is Jerry just not caring about this team anymore? And he's like, he has us where he wants, and that's selling tickets and selling merch, and he doesn't care about winning anymore. I just don't know, because every time I think of anything that would be positive for the Cowboys, I can count on Jerry Jones to go and do the opposite at this point. So I feel like my gut tells me if it was a good move, Jerry wouldn't do it. I mean, so I feel like it's a bad move at this point. I cannot be optimistic anymore about the Cowboys. I'm just so far gone. I'm pessimistic to the fullest extent. I told myself this would be the last year cheering for the Cowboys. I still found myself watching every game. I won't buy merch anymore, but godly, it's a toxic relationship, and I just don't know how to quit them. I just don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you on tickets to go to a game, not doing any of that right now. And I agree with you on I don't know if Jerry did it like on his feet. I really just think that he did not can really hire. I think he was going to do something like this the whole. To your point, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating. I mean, it's the Dallas. It's the Dallas Cowboys. At the end of the day, you can get someone to take an interview with to be the Cowboys coach. Like Bill Belichick campaigning all for the most part to be the Cowboys coach. You're listening to him talk.
He only has a $10 million buyout, so that could have been done.
Yeah, like Bill Belichick was clamoring to be the Cowboys coach this year when we were struggling and going on ESPN talking about all this stuff. Ben Johnson would have taken an interview. And so it's just one of those things where, to your point, I think Jerry Jones is happy. We talked about it before. This is something for him that he's hoping that will get us back to at least 9-8-ish, 8-9, maybe 10-7, and keep a good thing rolling for him. Because to your point, like he's I mean, come on, the Cowboys are one of the best assets ever, and content. So long we'll keep on buying tickets, keep on watching the games, and whatnot, and keep on being emotionally invested, such as you and I still are, obviously. But at the end of the day, too, when you know that the owner is kind of like thinking like that, it makes it a lot easier for us just to be like, okay, it doesn't really matter. But it's just the thing I keep on going back to and make my mind, because we're not there anymore, is does it look just a year or two, right? I mean, you're the defense. I mean, we were getting pick sixes left and right. Micah Parsons was going
Bland was going off. We
crazy.
had a little
Dak
guy in
Prescott
Bland.
threw for
Diggs was going to be coming back.
yeah,
Everything was looking optimistic. It was like,
yeah. So I look to that and I'm like, well, we still have some of those pieces. Maybe we needed a voice in the locker room. Like Mike obviously lost people, and I think we did lose somebody. Lost Dan Quinn. That was us, because as soon as he came in, day one, was playing assignment based defense. Like there was no more blown assignments going on before. Dan Quinn got these guys, whipped them into shape, and he went out the door. He had a lot of injuries this year, but still, we were missing Dan Quinn.
he gave our defense some swagger.
We hired Matt Eberflus, and so who knows what Eberflus can do? It's just,
I mean, Eberflus as a head coach, obvious Phil, but as a DC, he wasn't terrible. So I'm like, kind of okay with it.
Maybe he gets us into shape if you just have him focus on defense. So yeah, I mean, and we got pieces. It's just, that's the thing, but obviously still a roster that needs improvement. But yeah, just not a lot to be excited about these days.
All right, let's close out the pod here. We got 2 more slides. This weekend, it is combat sports all weekend, whether it's boxing, UFC, or even sports entertainment. The WWE Royal Rumble will be going on. Roland, I'm going to ask you about this fight, Israel Adesanya versus Nasruddin Imavov. This one's going to be in Dubai. And honestly, the way this card is shaping up, Roland, it looks better than the next UFC pay-per-view in UFC 312. Let me tell you who's fighting. Shara Bullet versus Michael Page. Super exciting fight. You got Sergey Pavlovich coming back. He's fighting Rosenstreich. And you got another Nurmagomedov cousin fighting. So there's some big names on this card, Roland. Are you pretty excited about this one?
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, Dana White always puts on for this over there. Or not started, but he always puts on out in he's got to deal with them, obviously, to put on some good shows going on Fight Island. But to your point, stack card, the Adesanya back, first time not a belt, I believe. So it'd be interesting to see him in the set. And excited for that second fight too. Michael Venom Page against Shara Bullet. In the Middle East, those cards are always lit. Obviously, Dana does have a deal with those guys.
And just one last thing, we do got boxing. We're not going to talk too much about it, but Benavidez versus Morrell, that's a hell of a fight. I encourage you guys to watch that. But the Valley's own Brandon Heartbreaker Figueroa versus Stephen Fulton Jr., the second time they will fight. The last time Fulton took the belt off of Figueroa. To me, I really had Figueroa winning. That's not just my biasness. I thought he had done enough on the ropes to win it. We got Isaac Cruz fighting. So this card is completely loaded again. So if you're into combat, sports combat, we got everything this weekend, guys. It's gonna be something to hold us over into the Super Bowl at least.
Is Benavidez a big?
You know what? I don't remember how big of a favorite he is compared to the last time, but let me pull that up for you.
Yeah, I heard some rumblings. I say rumblings. I think I probably came up on a reel on Instagram.
He's not as big. He's only minus 180.
What is it?
Sometimes he goes into these fights where he's 3-1, 4-1. So this is not the biggest favorite he's been.
Terrence Crawford and Canelo. Is there any truth, rumors, and
if there's not truth behind it, this is probably the most rumor and speculation it's ever gotten, because it feels like it has some legs at this point. You go to almost every social media platform at this point, and they're posting that it's a done deal. So It feels like this is really going to happen at this point. And I wouldn't doubt it because the way the Saudis be putting out this money, uh, boxers will cave and say, you know what, I'll take the check. You know, I'll keep a check around.
Yeah, and what do you Crawford going up that much in a weight?
We saw Canelo put down a way bigger fighter the last time than Terrence Crawford's body would ever support. I do fear for Terrence Crawford. Obviously, super technical, super skilled. But when you have a man who's been at that size, who has all the gifts that Canelo does, you do fear for these guys because it just seems like it might be a little too much of a come up at this point.
On that tainted meat.
That horse meat, you know what I mean? That horse meat is different in Mexico, so you just don't know. But yeah, I mean that's it for us tonight, boys.
Yeah, man. A great week, man. A great weekend of fights. Like you said, to your point, no football, but gods were with us.
Yeah,
here,
that's it for us tonight. We will be back before the Super Bowl. We will have a Super Bowl pod. More than likely, Super Bowl Sunday we'll have something as well. We'll put out our prop sheets for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We'll all have fun.
The prop sheets.
But anything else you want to get talk about, Roland, before we sign out here?
Man, honestly, trade deadline for the
NBA.
NBA. So hopefully we'll see if there's some big trades that happen. I'd see De'Aaron Fox's name. If the Spurs throw their name in that hat, see what a trade might look like there. Lakers always in the market.
LeHelp James.
AD just begging her to come into town to play the 5 anymore. They look a little nice at times. You know, they've come away with some big victories.
Oh, we're playing the 76ers G League team tonight, and we lost the game. 80 went out in the second quarter, and everything went downhill from there. We had Bronny James starting in the second quarter, so you know that's not a good look. That's just not a good. And we're playing at Philly, and he's playing. James. So, well, it's what it is. What it is.
Shout out Bronny James had a dunk this past weekend though in the G League.
Pretty nice. When he goes to the G League, he's dropping points, bro. He's got like 40 pointers. I mean,
yeah, there we go. All right, take the over on Bronny's
points. That's it for us. We'll see you next time. Peace.